welcome to Jeff Koinange live at the Terrace Restaurant of the Intercontinental Hotel. We have to apologize in advance because there's some very annoying Congolese music in the poolside. But what to do? We're just guests here. Speaking of guests, I have two who are on the show. And I tell you, tonight, it's all about the rumble in the rift. We've heard about the rumble in the jungle, all that, all week we've been talking about. Now, the rumble in the rift. What's going on? They both belong to the same party. One is a governor, one is a senator, but they are poles apart when it comes to everything from the referendum to Kenya moving forward. On my extreme right, the governor of the county of Bomet also happens to be the chairman of the Council of Governors, Isaac Ruto. His Twitter handle is @IsaacRutoGov. The man in the middle, who literally just arrived. We were worried, but he's here. Ahmed Nasir Abdullahi calls him the axis of impunity. He is the senator from Elgeyo Marakwet, Kipchumba Murkomen. His Twitter handle is @KipMurkomen. I'm Jeff Koinange. Twitter handle @Koinange Jeff. The hashtag is JKL. Gentlemen, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
I'm glad you both made it. I was a little worried. First of all, apologies for that horrible music.
Yeah.
We'll try and kill it at some point because it's going to mess up a good conversation.
No, we are tolerating it.
You're very tolerant.
Yes.
You're very tolerant.
Very tolerant.
I hope you'll be tolerant at the end of 60 minutes.
Right.
Okay. I'm going to give you the first right of a reply because last week the Grand Mullah came on the show. And all week, Muna tusiana sana. You're just abusing each other in Twitter land.
You know,
I'm giving you the right of reply.
You know, I mean, Nasir has some infatuations about Murkomen. He was supposed to teach me customary law when I joined campus. But he was such an inspiring lecturer that there was...
Uninspiring?
There were not enough students to attend his course because it was elective. Shortly ran away from the university. But, you know, we live in a society where, you know, those who are ahead of you should mentor you. I mean, Nasir is about 25 to 30 years older than me. And he was my teacher. I found him there. And usually when your students succeed, you must be happy. I think he's among the few people who are jealous about his students, but... So he's jealous of you? Yeah, I think so. He's jealous of you? Yeah, he likes, or maybe he likes me, some infatuation, or he's jealous. I can't really get it, because most of my teachers, even those who don't agree with from my side of politics, are happy the way I'm going. Although they say, you know, you could have joined us in ODM, or others say you could have joined us in being neutral or whatever, but they think that I am progressing, you know, politically.
And he calls you axis of impunity.
Yeah, you know, no, if you read that magazine, for those who have read it, there is, the form outside is, you know, it's like a pamphlet. It's like the gutter press. It has a screaming title, but inside there's no content. If you read about it saying, oh, the Standard newspaper said one day, the Nation newspaper said one day, the People newspaper said one day, there is no content, there's no research. Which reminds me that although Nasir brags a lot of being scholarly, his only celebrated book, which is in the shelf of University of Nairobi Library, is Burials in Modern Kenya. And that's why you saw me making fun of him. I told him, we call you Professor of Burials. Because, I mean, really, and he accepts.
Governor,
that's the only
Governor, unasikia matusi.
Yeah.
Unasikia matusi.
I'm just saying, no, that's my teacher.
What's amazing is that Murkomen seems to believe there is anything for anyone to be envious about him.
Oh, no, I didn't complete something.
Of course, he does very well in psychophancy.
I didn't complete something.
Yes,
now,
very well.
That article for Nasir,
yes,
and all his articles, weekends or whatever, they are not innocent articles.
What do you mean?
He's doing it for his clients.
Who are his clients?
And the one for Axis was ordered by Isaac, so it's just the front. And I can tell you why.
By Governor Ruto?
Let me complete. I can tell you why. He's such a beneficiary of an accountable county government who are paying him colossal amount of money to obtain fallacious and ridiculous court orders because he believes he's the right lawyer who can get you the right judge and the right judge.
Okay, Governor, those are claims, man. Those are hot claims.
I think it's not proper to drag in the judiciary into this little talk, because first of all, that is very dangerous grounds we are approaching. Bear in mind that Kenya is a nation respected on the basis of the rule of law. The moment we fail to respect the rule of law in this country, we lose the country.
Isaac cannot tell us about respect the rule of law.
He let you speak.
No,
he let you speak.
He can't tell us
we quickly become a failed state. The characteristics of a failed state is one that does not respect the rule of law. And I think this particular breed of test tube politicians are trying to experiment with that type of talk. And I would rather we move away from dragging the judiciary into this cheap politicking.
But he can't tell us about rule of law. First of all, Jeff, there's nothing like test tube politician.
But that's what you've been called, by the way. By the way, that's your title.
Let me come to you.
That is what he is.
He's a test tube politician. What does that mean?
Let me. What does it mean?
He's manufactured in a laboratory.
He's just cultured in a lab.
Let me come to that.
Exactly. And you just turn him with a handle.
Let me just come to that.
Yes.
As a matter of fact, a test tube baby is the most rare baby and the most expensive. So if you ever call anyone a test tube politician, you're just saying these are rare politicians and very expensive. But be that as it may,
yes.
Isaac cannot tell us. Isaac cannot tell us about rule of law. Constitution Article 125 says that the summons of Parliament, that is National Assembly and Senate, have the force of law like an high court. We have summoned Isaac. He's at large.
He hasn't arrived. He hasn't come. What do you summon him for? What have you summoned him for?
For accountability this county.
What?
To come and tell us about 185 million shillings which have been misused in this county. I sit in that committee. I'm not making a
Let's listen to the governor.
It's your own stories. First of all, Murkomen wants to read 125. Forgets about all the other provisions. 226 clearly indicates. 226 talks about accountability of the county entities to the county assemblies, the national entities to the national parliament. Full stop. The one he's talking about, you can summon anyone. It must be on the basis of a function.
Why didn't you ever appear in front of them, Governor?
Let me ask you.
Let me ask.
I have no intentions. In fact, the issues he was raising have been handled by my county assembly public accounts committee. The Senate in its structure was not supposed to have a public accounts committee.
Not at all. The last time.
But that is a matter that is in court.
Yes.
You can see. Let me tell you the link. There's a link between runaway fugitives from accountability and the refuge that they run to court.
Okay, if you guys have a case, let
me just complete. You see, 125 does not give an excuse. Even if we summon you, Jeff, you will appear there and say, why have you summoned me? I'm innocent. The most demeaning behavior of the chairman of Council of Governors is that all the other governors have come except him.
No.
Including my governor came last week. And by the way, when you are called for audit queries, you can run away for 10 years, but even in 20 years you will still.
But he's the chairman of the Council of Governors.
That is why he feels like he's a big man. Big man.
Okay, Governor.
Can't be asked any question.
Pesa Mashinani.
First of all, if indeed you have the powers of the courts, why don't you sentence me to jail for contempt of the Senate?
But you're a big man. You're a big man.
Governor, let's go to Pesa Mashinani, yes. Or as some people call it, Pesa Mashimoni.
Not some people, Murkomen.
The Murkomen, eh?
Yes.
Yakari Pesa Mashimoni?
Yes.
You want to use this as your referendum question, if you will. Yes?
Right, let me tell you. We've got about 10 issues. We've drafted a bill. It even carries slightly more issues, which are meant to facilitate the implementation of proper devolution. Now, we call it Pesa Mashinani only as a title, but it's not just about money. It's about making sure the services are run. It's also about ensuring that the system of devolution actually functions. And by the way, according to Sinovet, I understand 53% of Kenyans now support Pesa Mashinani. 53%?
Yes. Of what? They interviewed maybe 2,000 people.
No, that's the issue. It's about an opinion poll. Don't ask me about how many they sample. It's an opinion poll.
53%?
Yes.
Is that the opinion polls that say Raila will win? Or is it a different one?
I don't know about that one. Raila is your mentor.
Speaking of Raila,
he worked for Raila himself.
don't they say that this man is going to be his running mate in 2017?
He will not make. He's fighting so hard to catch the eye of Raila, but I think it's not useful to Raila.
Which, you know, there were some people who were asking on Twitter earlier on, which party are you in? Are you URP or UCOD?
They have no idea.
What one now, Lisa?
Never mind, right now, I am the governor of Bomet. Parties aside.
Yes.
I'm not going to give him undue airtime over his party that does not respect.
But do you have other aspirations?
As of now, I want to perform.
I told you he's working hard to catch the eye of Raila. But unfortunately, you know, as time goes, you see, initially he had some people thought he had some following. Now he's a lone ranger.
The same way you caught the eye of the other Ruto. Well, you are his spokesman. You are his.
Well, no,
what you say, you speak for the deputy president.
No, he's psychophant. He's psychophant.
You know,
not a
forget about
these
shenanigans. I don't speak for the deputy president.
You do.
The spokesperson. I don't speak for the president. There's Manoa Sipisu. What happens is that we have one manifesto, and all of us speak to that manifesto from different angles, but the message is the same.
Aiden Dwale speaks another message. Isn't he part of you guys?
There's no different message.
Huh?
There's no different message.
What did he comment to you guys? He said, you're President Yamamako.
Well, but you know, Isaac called him.
That is an example of this.
Let me just say something. Yeah?
Hold on.
Yeah.
That's an example of this Sky team. They are full of venom, and they go around the whole country spewing venom everywhere.
You know, it was unfortunate because Isaac Ruto and Dwale are the senior members of URP. And I think a little bit they got emotional. I heard Isaac the other day saying Dwale has a foot and mouth disease. The other one says he has Ebola. Isaac the other day in Kisumu was abusing the deputy president.
And you're on the same party.
Cases in court. Wait, just wait a little bit. The other day, Isaac, there is an MCA called Sarpai who alleges, and it looks like it's true, that Isaac pinched his, pulled his ears. He was alleged to have
slapped. Are they longer now? Are the ears longer?
No, the guy was saying he was going to look for he said he was going to go for an injection, a jab, because he doesn't know whether his hands were infected. But that was not even the issue. There was another one
but
where
he
slapped somebody in Siangiroi.
Senator.
Let me tell you one thing. You will never see me abusing anyone. I measure my words. I'm a lawyer, man.
But you're all in the same party.
Show me one word that I've abused anyone.
Yeah, you've abused Ahmed Nasir on Twitter.
That?
The Grand Mullah.
No, I've never. I choose my words. If he's an older man, I say you are older, you must be respectful. I don't abuse him.
Governor.
Yes.
Coming back to Pesa Mashinani.
Yes.
You all want 45% of the national budget to go to counties.
Not of the national budget. We want 45% of the last exchequer account, the latest exchequer account, which is, we are asking for 45% of the revenues of 2012-2013.
Which is 240 billion.
No, 350 billion.
Oh.
As of last year, it would have been 350 billion. That is 45% of 777 billion. And I want to tell you something else. That money is in the national budget on functions that are already devolved. That it does not require any fresh taxation. It does not require any money that is in the functions assigned to the national government.
Okay.
Functions.
But okay, if you take the process, you were talking earlier on, you and I, you said by the time the referendum comes around, it'll be next September, October, right? A year from now.
Right.
What are we going to do for a year?
The procedures set by the Constitution are quite lengthy. For instance, we collect the signatures. It can take us 2 months or 3 months. Then you got to give it to the IEBC.
I've not seen anyone collect the signature. Have you seen?
Go on.
It goes to the IEBC.
Yes.
Maybe for about 2 months, 60 days. Then they send it to the county assemblies. They could take 2 months. The county assemblies may pass it, and if they pass it, it goes to the Senate and the National Assembly. Yes, they could take 3 months. Then it goes back to the IEBC. If it has to go to the referendum, it goes back to the IEBC. Then the IEBC has some things to do.
And all this,
then another 3 months to prepare the elections.
And all this time, what do Kenyans do? We're on hold. We're on perpetual holding pattern. tukingojea hii mambo.
Kenyans do what they normally do, even what they are doing right now.
What happens?
Their daily course.
What happens to Okoa, Kenya? The court referendum question.
Obviously, they go through the same procedure.
So there's going to be two parallel referendums.
Let me tell you.
Or referenda.
Referenda. One of the options is they can have two debates, two questions. Say Okoa, for Okoa, Kenya, you vote. Pesa machinari.
Who's going to pay for all this? Nani analipa?
What do you mean? Who pays for all the elections?
Chief, that's just... Senator, what do you think of this?
Let me just tell you something.
Can I tell?
Okay,
first of all,
yes.
What drives the issues? It is the delivery of service where the majority of Kenyans are.
So you're saying services aren't being delivered?
Over the weekend.
Yes.
You should have heard the biggest news that for the first time in 50 years, a child was delivered in Mandera through cesarean section. What does that tell you? For 50 years, any woman in Mandera who requires C-sections would just die. So many of them have died. So many of them have died.
And this is thanks to devolution?
Now, devolution, thanks to devolution, Mandera is now celebrating that they can save their women.
Can I come to something?
Go on.
First of all, the governor of Mandera does not support referendum. So
he does.
Two, no, that's important. I mean, that's what we know. It's
is that what someone telling you?
Two, and most important is to say that devolution is not a concept or a principle applicable to only one level of government. Yeah, that's the Constitution. If you read Article 110, it says a principle that applies to both levels of government. Article 174, all. So functions that have been left to national government, like education, immigration, security, all those other functions that have been left to national government must be felt in the village level. That's devolution. The functions that are in the county level must also be spread to all parts of the county. That is actually the intention of devolution. Now, the issue of money, question of money...
That is wrong.
Let me just complete what
that is factually wrong.
Yeah, let me complete. So, you see, every level of government, under Article 174, every level of government is supposed to tell their functions closer to the people. The question we should say. Let's devolve and decentralize the functions at the local level.
But let me ask you this. Bottom line. 45%. Is that too much to ask?
No, I said, you saw my article on Sunday Nation.
I did.
I mean, it is primitive to discuss any figure. Because the question is, all those functions that are done by national government and functions that are done by county governments must all be funded. Yeah? If you look at the budget of the country, which was 1 or 2 billion, you'll realize that 400 billion was to debt. Yeah? 226 billion to county government, about 200 billion to teachers, about 200 billion to security. So there is no function you can say, let us fund the county function and leave the national function. And even after we have squeezed all that budget, we had a deficit of a 407 something billion.
Right, Governor.
So the arguments we should be having is not about
numbers or figures.
There is no country in the world, show me one, that implements devolution that has the clause that we have at least 15%.
Okay, stand back.
It's a function of...
Let me explain.
It's a negotiated function about institutions.
I can school Mr. Murkomen.
Okay.
First of all, devolution is the devolution of power and resources. Decentralization is a different concept.
No.
What the Constitution says in that 174 talks about bringing services within proximate
to the people.
Yes.
Let's not debate about English.
Let's not.
Devolution is a form of decentralization.
No. This is political
other forms
science.
Of decentralization.
This is political science.
Other forms of decentralization are divestment, delegation, privatization. The strongest form of decentralization
so are you saying
is devolution.
We had devolution with the what was it called?
We had decentralization, but we didn't have devolution.
Yes.
Because decentralization
so you are now thinking
is the bigger word.
So you are now thinking that decentralization is also devolution.
Yeah. No. Decentralization is the bigger concept.
It's not the bigger
forms
concept.
Of decentralization we had before was delegation.
Maybe I should bring...
But now we have a stronger form of decentralization called devolution.
Maybe I should bring PLO Lumumba to define...
Just Google.
Yes.
It's so simple.
Google is your friend.
No, but that's where you search serious journal article. if you can't
No wonder you can't
appreciate
agree with Ahmed Nasir. I think he's the one who ran away from school. It cannot be Ahmed Nasir.
Well,
let me now explain about the figures he was talking about. Look, we are talking about 350 billion, which is 45% of last year's revenue, not 209. And let me tell you something else. There is 20 billion in national government on health, which is a devolved function. It is not to do the referral hospitals. There is 20 billion to do deworming of children and such like stuff, which are devolved functions. Now, there is 25 billion to do water reticulation and to do things like small water pumps. That is a devolved function. What is that money doing in the national government? There is about 40 billion to do Class D and Class E of roads. What is that money doing?
That is road.
When we total the money,
yes.
I'm just telling
Correct,
you.
yes.
We are not discussing the money belonging to teachers.
No.
We are not discussing the money belonging to the national security.
No.
We are not discussing money that belongs to national government.
You want to take this health money,
Can I come to that? Let me just explain to him the constitution.
He's just beating about the bush.
The parliament, once it divides the money, that's what we call division of revenue bill. Once you divide the money to the two levels of government, each level of government budget as they wish. Okay? So some of them will put in this health this much, some will put here, others will budget this much for this amount and borrow for the other function. Like you can put the money to health policy, but then you borrow roads. Yeah? So you are not entitled as a county government to go and look at the budget of another level of government. Once you get your money, you budget within the resources you're beginning.
Governor, can there be a middle road? Right now you're getting 42%. 42% of a budget that was 0910.
Oh, 0910.
Correct.
09.
Yeah, but they'll update as they come. They'll update.
Right. It's also 100% of 02. It is 160% of 1997.
It's not an issue.
So what are we talking about? What percentages are we talking about?
But you people are still returning money to the treasury.
We are not. No money is returned to treasury. Can you explain? Is money returned?
No, it's not returned to treasury.
Okay, fine.
But what happens?
Where we Maliza?
You've explained. Go ahead.
It's not about treasury. It is returned to the county treasury. It's returned to the county treasury for budgeting again.
Yes.
Just like national government entities return money.
Gentlemen, let's take a break. Let's take a break. Come back and talk some more. Governor, I'll give you the first right of reply when we come back from the break. My goodness. Could someone please switch off that damn music? Oh, mimi niende. Okay, niende, mimi. Rumbagani, bana. We're trying to have an intelligent conversation here. At Isaac Ruto Gov, at Keep Murkomen, at Koinange Jeff. The hashtag is JKL. Keep tweeting, keep texting. Goodness, I'm going to switch off that music. We'll be back.